Hey viewers, I'm Vince.
And I'm Tom. We're coming at you from Nerdcom. And today we'll be talking about Defiance.
Well, so Defiance, it's an upcoming MMO from the makers of Rift, Trown Worlds. I don't know if that's very popular or not.
Yeah. And today, what we're mainly talking about is how excited about the game and the new features about it. So, it's an MMO. It's a third-person shooter MMO. It sounds kind of unrealistic and kind of hard to pull off, but they really did a good job.
Yeah, it kind of threw me off at first hearing that it's going to be a third-person shooter, but an MMO. I think one other game I could think of kind of followed that, and that was Tabula Rasa.
But
that game did not do well.
Yeah, it really...
It's very different from that.
Yeah, but they did a really good job with this game. Excited about it, ecstatic. And so, also about the game, they're making it into a show. So they said that the game and the show will be connected here and there.
Could be interesting, It's going to be on, what, Sci-Fi Channel, right?
Yep. Yeah. And if I'm correct, the game will be coming out first, and then the show.
Yes.
So be ready for it. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully, because, it's sci-fi.
Yeah. And just give you kind of a quick comparison as to what kind of game it's like. I would say it's like a third-person Borderlands in like a Rift-style world. Like that's the closest thing I can think of comparing, it to. Because really, there's no other MMO out there like this right now. So.
Yeah, and I think everybody. Well, I've always wanted Borderlands to be with more people.
Oh yeah.
And these guns.
It's pretty awesome so far.
So also with the show, what I found really interesting, and I think you did, is that what we do in the game will affect the show. That's why they're releasing it about 2 weeks early.
Very weird. But it could be really good.
Yeah.
Could be good if they do it well.
Yeah. But the more we mess up the world,
the more messed up the show will probably be.
Yeah.
Which is kind of tempting.
Yeah. So, but keep an eye out. More things to come for it. But a lot of stuff coming in for the show and the game, so a lot of changes. So some of the point of interest that we have for the game, and is how we start the game. General MMOs, they'll have a couple different races, like for example, World of Warcraft. They'll have the elves, dwarves, here and there, and 2 factions. But in this game, there's only 2 factions. They're not enemies, or 2 races.
Yeah. You're on the same side, so...
Yeah. You guys aren't fighting each other, you guys are working together. It's good. It's very simplistic character designs, but they did it out well.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, let's see, what else we got? Oh, the weapons and the customization. Oh, man. That's one thing that's really excited me. So, if you're anything like me, when you play Borderlands, the variety of guns and different things they can do are pretty much what make the game. I mean, it's addictive. It's one of those kind of just, I don't want to say dungeon crawler because you're not really in dungeons, but you're basically doing it for the loot. You're doing it for the drops. The drops are what the game is. And this game just, it kind of goes on that same style. There's many different types of weapons, but with those different types there's also added effects or
little
elements here and there that make the guns different.
So, as an example, like one of my favorite weapons, I love it. They're a type of gun called Impactors. It's kind of hard to find a good one, but I found a really good one. But Impactors basically puts egg sacs all over the enemy, and they'll pop. Little buddies come out, and they, suicide bombers. It's great.
They kind of look like the head crabs from Half-Life, if you play that.
So.
Oh, and the customization you can do to the guns too is really interesting. Essentially, you can put the weapon you want to customize in a slot, and it'll give you a random, what would you call it, like a modification slot, like either the barrel, the stock, the magazine, or scope, right? And it'll take you about 10 minutes for it to go through. It's kind of like a waiting thing. But once it happens, you get one of those random slots. Yeah. And then from there you can buy the mod appropriate to that slot for that gun and upgrade it from there, which makes it really interesting.
But also with the weapon modifications, like adding another slot, yes, it's random, and you think it'd use your money, but it has its own separate resource pile,
Which is pretty cool.
Which is nice. Now, if you want to cheat, you could also pay some money into the game, and you have your own cash for, tweaking out your characters.
Yeah.
But that's how much you like into the game.
All right. Let's see. From there, the events. The events are great. If you've ever played Rift, I'm sure you know about the Rift events, where a rift will appear, enemies will start pouring out, and basically, depending on the rift, it has a certain, kind of, what would you say, like a goal. Either kill all the enemies or destroy this one object, etc., etc. This game has that too, which is pretty cool.
Well, it is coming from Tryon, so...
Right, so you kind of expect it, but it works really well with this game.
Yeah.
What are they called? The Arcfalls?
Arcfall events.
Yeah, Arcfall events.
But another thing that really comes into, mind-blowing in my head is that instead of partying up with people, when you're doing a quest and you need more people, random people could pop up. For example, you're in a quest, your main storyline quest, and you're about midway through and another person needs a quest, that person could just show up and be at the same point of where you're at, so the quest doesn't restart.
That makes it really useful too, because then you don't have to go through the trouble of searching for people, say, hey, I'm on this quest,
Yeah.
Who wants to join me, blah, blah, blah. This way you're on the same quest, it just automatically, I don't want to say groups you, but it just, allows you to continue from the point in the quest you're at along with that person. And, makes it easier that way. But same thing with the events, everyone pulls in, does the event, you get rewarded afterwards, which is nice. All the rewards are individual too.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about sharing loot with anyone. All the drops are for you, so
yeah.
That makes it really
that's another thing. As much as I love Borderlands,
point.
my problem with it is that you find a good chest filled with good weapons, you want to keep them all, but you can't. Especially if you're playing with multiplayer.
People start arguing with you, hey, I use sniper rifles, that's a sniper rifle, it should go to me.
But in the back of
Don't
your
have
head,
to worry about that
you kind of
in
want
this
to
game.
stab them and take the weapon for yourself.
Oh, of course.
But individual loot, oh my god.
Big
So good.
point with this. Big point. That really excited me. I didn't even know it until I played. All these weapons were dropping and I was panicking someone else is going to get them.
Especially when
so
you're...
I'm running over, picking up all the greens I can. Like, oh, gimme.
Yeah,
But
it's really good.
Don't have to worry about it. Same thing with the ammo.
Yeah.
Ammo drops frequently, so you don't have to worry about sharing that with other people either.
Yeah.
That's another good point.
But again, with the Arcfall events, another thing that's really nice about the game is that, for example, you guys fail the Arcfall events, the world will get affected. The more
Pretty crazy.
mutated, the more enemies here and there, which is kind of scary.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure how it affects the enemies themselves yet. So I remember from Rift, if you didn't destroy this fire rift, all of the enemies in that area would suddenly become, fire related or fire elemental of some sort. It'd make them harder. This game, I haven't quite seen anything like that yet. So maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Not entirely sure. Landscape looks pretty cool though when it does get affected. You got these crazy rock spires coming out with weird infected plants and. It makes a big difference.
So, another thing about this game is that if you like Skyrim, you know how you level up your individual skills. This game also does it. It's a little bit slower on their end, but they make good use of it. It's not you're getting the skills from it, but it's the additional things that you get with the gun. But it's nice. Again, it just takes a while, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
So if you like a favorite weapon, so good stuff.
Stick with it. It'll get better and better.
Yeah.
It's useful. The mounts. Those are amusing. Obviously at first you don't start off with a mount, but if you do the regular story quest, you'll eventually get one as a reward. And they're ATVs, which are kind of fun to drive, especially around the fairly large world that they give you.
Yeah.
With all the hills and stuff like that. You have boost on your ATV, which is... I've been abusing the hell out of that.
Who wouldn't?
Going up these sharp cliffs that you're really not supposed to get up. Get enough speed going, pop the boost right at the top, just crawl you right over. Cut off a good, half a mile from your
Yeah.
from your traveling.
So you can do a lot of retarded shit with
Oh yeah.
some of the ATVs or some of the
Yeah.
vehicles. But there's a lot of stupidity that comes with some of the mounts. So, be ready for that too.
And yeah, there's pretty cool stuff too.
Yeah.
They have like a like a truck or something like that. That it's a little slower, but it's got more ramming speed on it, which is also cool.
Yeah.
You can ram enemies with your vehicle. I think that's awesome. I keep doing it with my ATV, but the ATV really isn't meant to. So I blow up a lot. A lot.
But
which sucks.
for the game that we've been playing, it's not out yet. It will be out on April 2nd. We've been playing the beta. Just came out for PlayStation Plus players, so if you're a PlayStation Plus, really recommend you getting it.
Squeeze in there before it comes out.
But again, for a beta, really good. The amount of availability for you, really good. Even the space, the enemies, the different weapons, it's insane for a beta. But
it's really impressive.
As any other game, we'll have our pros and cons, and so some of our pros will be, again, availability just for a beta. I just can't wait for the release of the full release of the game. So that'll be insane. Also, for the graphics for a console MMO, really good.
It's surprisingly good. I was impressed.
I got into the beta also for the PC. I could compare them, but PC will always be better. But for what it is for a console, it's really good.
Yeah, definitely. And, personally, I tend to like to play any sort of shooter on PC just because I prefer the precision of the mouse.
Mm-hmm.
But it actually works better, in my opinion, for console. I mean, it's essentially like Borderlands. It's got a really good, control layout system. Yeah. It's not too hard to aim with, I guess. Like, the sensitivity you can put on the aim is actually...
Yeah.
It actually makes it a lot easier. So... what would you say? The amount of players you can have? Obviously, it's an MMO, so there's going to be a crap ton of players.
So as I mentioned earlier, some events, require a lot of people, and some of the people that show up have been crazy insane. Sometimes you kind of get lost with all the explosions, the shit flying around.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's entertaining, especially when crystals blow up. You see people fly.
It's good and bad at the same time. One of the things I've seen a lot is, like one of the events, you'll have a crystal in the center that you have to destroy. And a lot of bugs and other enemies will be spawning around it. So you get this one guy in a vehicle, in the big truck, and all he does is drive in circles around the crystal, trying to splat everything. Yes, he's helping. At the same time, it's kind of annoying. But once again, that's a player-based thing.
Yeah.
That's not really a game-related issue. So
yeah.
All MMOs come with the downside of the player base, unfortunately.
And, as I said, there's a lot of people, but there are times where you get into events and you're the only one there.
Which makes doing world events extremely difficult, since they're clearly not meant for one player to do. I mean...
Hey, but you can tweak yourself up.
That's true. That's true.
Now, as a beta, there'll always be feedback, but, we see a lot of here and there that's broken, glitchy. But feedback, hopefully it's good. Hopefully they'll get to it and fix up some of the things.
They've got a pretty good system for it right now.
Yeah.
Pretty much after every quest or every event, a little feedback window will pop up, so you can, essentially rate what level you thought the quest was at. You can rate whether or not there was bugs or glitches with it.
Yeah. You can also do it
really
apart from the quest. You have a selection for submitting some feedback, which is nice. Now, as a feedback, again, hopefully people put in some feedback and they're not just playing the game.
Yeah.
Now, as for cons,
even though I've been guilty of that a couple times myself, but
true.
Get a little too much into it.
But as for cons, there's a lot of problems with sound breaking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, very much so.
It's not your TV breaking like the sound, but it's just the sound in game. It just
yeah. Especially with the explosions and rocket launchers. I have this one rocket launcher that when it hits a target, it'll split off 4 like grenade-like things, and when they explode, it just totally
destroys the
sound. It's one of those ones where it'll just go You can't hear
Yeah.
shit anymore.
It's might as well put your TV on mute, but again, we've already submitted or going to.
So I'm sure they'll take care of that before it's released.
Again, though, from the con side, this is coming from a beta. So some of the quests aren't working.
I haven't encountered one of those so far.
Yeah. Some world events, we kind of hope that there's a... What would you call it? Like a queue or something that would notify all players that there's an event, but...
Yeah, because a lot of the times I end up missing out on the world events because I'm too busy, doing a side quest or something. So I'll look it up on the map, see what's going on. By the time I get there, well, they're done. So I traveled, 5 minutes across the world for nothing. But I guess it's not that bad.
And the ego, quote unquote, it's annoying. It's a small AI that would notify you on small things, but not big things.
Usually during quests and
constantly talk. Every quest, everything that comes near you. Hey, more mutants are coming.
One thing I found that happens is if you're really, really busy fighting a lot of enemies at once, for some reason she won't say anything during that whole time, but the second you're done, she'll backlog everything she meant to say during that whole time, so it'll just be constant dialogue. Constantly.
So sometimes it's kind of good putting
your,
TV on mute, but that's just me. So, our impressions, really good for a beta. Can't wait for it to come out. We've been playing the beta non-stop.
Oh yeah.
It's been insane, it's been stupid. Really good. Can't wait. But we pre-ordered the biggest edition, so it'll come with everything, statues, backpacks, so be ready for that. We'll be doing an unboxing, and hopefully you come by and watch.
Excited for that. Really excited for that.
Yeah. Also, we'll be having Last of Us, and if you guys have any recommendations for anything, our email will be at the bottom. Send us an email, and we'll be more than happy to do it. So again, I'm Tom.
And I'm Vince.
Thank you for watching.